All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you had a great day. Let's start with the daily charts and move from there. So, pretty interesting day, right? I mean, seemed pretty logical, this particular pullback. I mean, we did gap up in the morning and we hit that 407 weekly target that I had, and it gave you a triple top. So, 1, 2, 3 rejected, and we ended up going as low as 404.03 in the intraday and just kind of pause for now. So on the 30-minute chart, you kind of have this new kind of ugly pattern, right? It's a head and shoulders pattern. You might see a little bit of a move in the pre-market, okay, to create the right shoulder before moving down. But we know that tomorrow is going to be a big day, and Wednesday is going to be a big day, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please do not ask in the chat rooms what time Powell is tomorrow, because I'm telling you right now, it's at 10 a.m. Sorry, I'm having fun. Eastern time. So please do not ask what time is Powell tomorrow. All right. I will boot anyone who asks when is Powell tomorrow. Now, what I mean by logical, okay, is that number one, we know that the SPY had a 407 gap right around here. Okay. Now, mind you, on the daily, it actually didn't fill completely. Okay. So you have a huge upper shadow, which is a shooting star daily candle. There is still a gap to 408. Okay. So I do actually expect at some point we're going to retest 407 to come up and fill that 408. SPX actually had a gap majority of the day at 40.45, and they came all the way down from the rejection point of 40.78 and filled that gap to 40.45. So intraday, you pretty much had a round trip. As much as SPY went up, it went down at the same time. So you have a shooting star candle on the daily. It actually did close under the simple moving average 20, which is not great news for the bulls. But you look at the volume today, it was kind of a logical step down. All right. We had great run from Thursday and Friday. Your stochastics are way too hot. Your overbought indicators are way too hot. So I figured at some point they're going to pull the rug, right? And they did, which is fine. But does this kind of negate the whole this particular rally? Not really. If you look at the 1 hour chart, okay, we pulled back to logical support area 404, okay, which I mentioned earlier this morning. 404 is going to be pretty big support, and it held all right throughout the entire day until the dump. Okay, and so what I'm looking for tomorrow is obviously everything is going to come down to Powell, right? If Powell sounds too hawkish, if he sounds too dovish, we don't know what he's going to sound like. He does testify before the Senate and I believe the Congress on Wednesday. All right, so it's a 2-day event. Plus on Wednesday morning you have Jolt. All right, there's a lot of unknowns out there. So we'll take it 10 minutes at a time tomorrow. See what he says. See how the markets react. But if the indication based off this daily candle is that it's a shooting star, then we can expect what? To retest 400, right? I'm going to stay relatively or cautiously bullish unless we break 400. Unless we break this daily trend line again, unless we break this particular trend line, or we come back to the 50 MA, then it's another dump to a 200 MA, all right, or what we call mama, all right, mother of all moving averages. But so far, once again, in my opinion, it just feels like a logical step down. Indicators way too hot, all right. You need to fill some gaps on SPX. And SPX, you still have a gap of 40.90. All right, that's still there. But this is it's a great run. All right, but just got stopped short because everything is just kind of overbought. Now, I talked about this 1 hour stochastic this morning with you guys, and guess what? It resets, which is great. Or if you're a bull, you need this thing to reset before the next move up or a potential move up. And that catalyst can come. It could be Jolt, it could be Powell, it could be non-farm payrolls. We don't know. Or we just, completely negate this whole entire run and go back to 396, which I would say you have to be open-minded to that as well. Okay. Certainly a lot of volatility still exists in the market. All right. So we'll take it one day at a time, 10, 15 minutes a trade, and we'll move on to tomorrow. Same thing with the Qs, right? The Q 303 gap. Okay. We talked about that gap this morning and it filled on the dot and rejected, and you have a shooting star. It actually closed and managed to stay above the simple moving average 20, which is positive, and you have lower volume on this drawdown as well. Okay. So not a lot of sellers means that people are still kind of holding on, accumulating probably, all right, in the market, waiting to see what Powell says tomorrow. So which could be the big catalyst. And Q, you had this nice falling wedge pattern and finally did break out. And most of it, of course, was Bostic, all right? But the top watch you have to maintain going into tomorrow would be Apple, all right? Apple here, it closed on a shooting star doji. All right. Well, you can call this a gray stone. We talked about this 157, 156 level this morning, which is pretty much top, and top. So that's quad tops. Okay. If that's even a pattern. But you have a gap here to 151, and you have a gap to from 147 to 146. So Apple, very much heavyweight in SPYs and Qs. It really dictates the market in terms of how the indexes move. All right. But if that's an indication of the near-term future, then yes, I would say, hey, that gap's got to fill at some point before potentially another move up, right? You need these gaps to fill. So tomorrow, once again, we'll play it, 5-10 minutes at a time. Again, lots of stuff. This whole entire move is going to come down to Powell, the NFP, the JOLTS data. If this comes back down to 200 moving average, you know what? The bulls are going to start giving up because that's a lot of testing of the simple moving average 20. All right. But, once again here, we're getting a little bump here in the after hours here. Head and shoulders pattern on a 30-minute. Just be wary of that. 405, 406. You create that right shoulder, unless, of course, Powell pumps it and we go past these levels. Now, this rally, all right, has been, let's say, from 391 to 407. So that's a 15, 16-point rally, which is about, 120 something points on the SPX. So obviously things have to pull back, all right? Again, if the 400 level can hold tomorrow, I'm still relatively bullish, but cautiously on the bull side. All right. So with that, I will see you guys in the morning. Have a good evening. I think today, in terms of trading wise, we hit the calls in the morning. I try to go in for that scoop. Let's see if we can get a bounce right around this area here, but that actually did not pan out for me. But took a small loss. All right, no big deal. I was kind of hoping to see if could be a little bump or a little V-shaped recovery, but it looks like the sellers did absolutely continue to step in, and you have some selling volume at the end of the day as well. But nonetheless, on the daily side, you still don't this drawdown once again is kind of logical, right? You fill a gap, you dump it, all right, back to a base, figure out where that base is, and then you wait for the next move up. So, all right, guys.